you, Mr. Speaker, and really appreciate the opportunity to talk about a bill from a senator, and he's become a great friend, senator from Nunavut, with a lot of deep history in Nunavut and Northwest Territories, even before the boundaries had been reformed. But really, I would say the bill should be called, instead of many call it the use it or lose it, I think it should be called Connecting Nunavut, Northwest Territories, Yukon, and Northern Canadian Communities Bill, because really that's what it's about. I file officially as Shadow Minister for Northern Affairs, Arctic Sovereignty, and Northern Economic Development. Connectivity is absolutely imperative now. It is across the country, but even more so in these remote communities that we represent. And I guess I was a little bit puzzled. I heard the member from the Liberal across the way say that they weren't going to support the legislation. And I guess I'm troubled by that, in that, you know, it's been said, and I've said it before, that this NDP Liberal government has abandoned the Arctic. And again, by opposing this bill, it just further proof that that's exactly what's happening. But I'm going to get into what the bill is, and I'm going to give Senator Patterson a lot of credit here. This is his summary. Again, Dennis Patterson, serving as Senator for Nunavut since 2009. Prior to that, served as a 4-term member of the Legislative Assembly for Northwest Territories, representing the riding of Frobisher Bay, now known as Iqaluit. He spent 16 years in office as a senior minister and spent 4 of those years as premier. Given the remoteness of my region, adequate and reliable access to internet services was a major focus of mine during my time in office, and I've continued to work hard on the issues during my time in the Senate. In today's society, access to internet is much more than recreational. We have become increasingly reliant on internet for a host of things that include, but are not limited to, work, school, the administration of justice, and health applications. Use it, lose it is the policy that those who buy spectrum are taking on as an obligation to deliver services to Canadians. It sets out that if you get a fair chance to use your spectrum, and if you don't, the government should take it away and give it to someone who will use it. The policy treats spectrum like the public utility that it is, and I couldn't agree more, Mr. Speaker. There's examples where somebody had said it's just you know, you buy it and flip it for a huge profit without building a stick of infrastructure that's very, very important. I want to give a shout out to some of my fellow shadow ministers, though, for their work on this. The Shadow Minister for Innovation, Science and Economic Development, the Shadow Minister for Pan-Canadian Trade and Competition, and the Shadow Minister for Rural Economic Development and Connectivity, all doing great work on this. In summary, for the people that are watching today, residents that right from Nunavut, Yukon and Northwest Territories themselves, and northern parts of Canada, the bill would implement a use it or lose it approach to licensed spectrum. The legislation would force licensed spectrum holders to deploy the spectrum to provide service to at least 50% of the population within the geographic area covered by the spectrum license within 3 years of the license issuance, or potentially have the license revoked. The bill permits the minister to revoke the spectrum licenses that do not abide by the aforementioned regulations, and the minister must, within 60 days, reissue the revoked licenses to competitive bidders. And I think, you know, the colleague, the Shadow Minister for Pan-Canadian Trade and Competition, has spoken about how, you know, we have the most expensive cellular service or internet services, however you want to call it, in the world. And so what I would at least expect from that, as I think every Canadian should, no matter whether you're from Iqaluit or you're from Toronto, is that these big telcos, they're making huge amounts of money, and I would at least expect that they would be building infrastructure in the remote communities that really comes with getting that spectrum. It's expected, and this bill would set out to make that the way it's going to be. I'm just going to refer to an article. It's from the Nunavut News, and this is one of the publications specifically in Nunavut, and just what they say about it. Patterson, I'll read what the article is called. Nunavut Senator touts law that could improve communications in the North. Patterson said his bill, which passed third reading in the Senate on April 20th, would improve access to wireless services in rural and underserved communities like those in Nunavut. from the Senator. What's happening now is that telecom companies who are operating are tending to favor larger companies, so we have a disparity in services such as they are between the larger and smaller communities, Patterson said. He said, this is Senator Patterson again, he said in 2008, this is an example how they flip it and make hundreds of millions of dollars while doing really nothing for our local communities. He said in 2008, Shaw Communications bought a particular spectrum license for $190 million and sold that license for $350 million in 2013. Then in 2017, Shaw purchased another spectrum license from a company called Videotron for $430 million, which netted Videotron a $243 million profit, all while building zero infrastructure, really in Canada, but in the North especially, communities that need it desperately. Last quote, broadband access is critical to Nunavut, in particular because of the vital service that we rely on here, including health and telehealth, education, business, and economic development and communications with the broader world, he said. And so, again, Mr. Speaker, part of my role is economic development in northern regions in our country. And when you go up and meet with Northerners, you know, I've been to all three territories several times now. This is a common, constant topic of conversation, is connectivity. Because this is the way residents of those communities, they order from Amazon like you and I do. And they just don't order things. They order food in many cases because they just can't access it in their remote communities. So it's really even more necessary that they have good connectivity. And I guess I'll just speak to the Senator. I've known Senator Patterson for many years. And one thing, anybody that's ever met the Senator in this place will know he's got a passionate desire to serve not just the region of Nunavut, but the people of Nunavut and the North. Anytime you talk to him, he's got a sealskin vest on or something sealskin on, made by a local in one of the communities that he represents. And he's always got this smile for the North. And I don't know, the room might not know this, but he's reaching that age, 75, pretty quickly. And pretty soon he will no longer be in the Senate chamber, but we're going to miss him there. But I just want to give him a lot of credit for advocating for people of the North, the things that really matter in the North. And I know he's doing his best with this. It's gone through the Senate. It's in this chamber. I would call on, I see the Northern Affairs Minister over there. I would call on the Liberals. Again, I've accused them of abandoning the North. This is an opportunity to really support the North and to make this happen. Not the North. They have to look at it in a different way as this area of a geographical area. It's a geographical area with people, right? Real people that rely on connectivity for their daily lives, as I just said, and food being food and health. I mean, it doesn't get more important than that. And I think this is such an easy thing for this, this government to support. And again, to hear the member from Manitoba say that they're going to oppose is again surprising to me. This NDP Liberal government has abandoned the North. And I would challenge them to change the direction they're going on this bill. If they vote no, then again, it proves my point that indeed this NDP Liberal government has abandoned the North. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.